So what exactly has President William Ruto finished saying in his State of the Nation address speech? I'll tell you the things that I noticed as I do a very thin summary of what I picked up from the speech, because I'm going to leave room for that conversation to be expanded in different aspects. But here's what I noted. Number one, he plans to introduce a development framework that is supposed to carry the nation's development structure and direction past Vision 2030, because as you may know, Vision 2030 inaenda ikikaribia kuisha. So as it ends, he's trying to launch something that will give direction, that will carry onwards from Vision 2030. And that development framework is supposed to be, or to morph into, a national conversation that he has said he is inviting all Kenyans to have, so that they do not leave the responsibility of charting the development agenda of Kenya to politicians only. Now, that is what he said. But here's what I noticed from what he did not say. All right? If I remember correctly, the last time we had a national conversation, it ended up in a referendum. If you remember, when President Uhuru Kenyatta was the president, towards his, I think it was in second term. Yeah, it was in the second term, he brought the question of BBI. And BBI was supposed to be a national conversation, but it ended up into a political thing that ended up with a referendum question at the end. And this is no different, because a national conversation that is meant to shape the development agenda of a country might end up with a referendum question. And trust me, that referendum question might include scrapping of terms. Because conveniently, and this might be unrelated and I might be overthinking, he snuck in long term. I had the issue of long term 3 times, that we cannot make it, we have to make it into a long term plan. Who has been pushing the word long term? Them. And I know it sounds like I'm far reaching, it sounds like a conspiracy, but I like to see things or read in between the lines. So you have a national conversation that will end up with a referendum question that might involve, because you've seen they've tried to introduce it. Cherargei has continuously introduced that issue of term limits being removed. Si mara moja. So now they will have an avenue to do it through a referendum. And here's the kicker. Courts have previously litigated on when a president initiates a popular initiative. And the time that courts litigated on it, it proved that the president cannot initiate a popular initiative. So if by any chance he thinks that initiating this conversation that will end up with a referendum will grant him a way, some sort of way into a popular initiative, he is wrong, because he's the one who fought BBI. So to me, that is something that I am thinking about. A popular initiative question and a referendum question at the end of this conversation. And last but not least, and this is my final point, the timing of when you're introducing this. Because this government has been known to introduce things with very good words, with very many shiny things. It looks good from the outside, but you're doing it at a point when people and the majority of Kenyans have lost faith and goodwill in you. If he was talking about this in his second year in office, instead of focusing on impeaching Rigathi Gachagua, if he was talking about this framework, then even Kenyans would have had the will to dig deeper into their pockets to try and see it through. I mean, it's hard for me to look at it with genuine eyes when we have just entered the election year. If you don't know, the election year kicks in August. When August comes around, we are exactly 1 year away from an election. And somehow you want to introduce a national conversation that will somehow be credited to you. Whether or not it ends up in court, it will be credited to you. That you will be the initiator of this popular initiative, and people will say that you tried, and so it will somehow carry you into the election, and you will be able to say, if it flops, you will be able to say, you see, wale hawataki agenda ya kuendelea, they tanked the whole idea, wakaiangusha. If it passes, you take credit for it. It is hard for me to look at it with genuine eyes. Not because I am not patriotic, but because this government has a reputation of trying to sneak in covert operations between its agendas. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I am overthinking, but that's what I saw from that speech. We'll continue engaging and dissecting it a bit more, but for now, that's all I saw.